Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Mr. Doug Collins. It's always great having you on our show. Thank you so much for taking the time. So, as we know, this is a somber holiday. This is not one we celebrate. This is one we observe and one that takes reflection. What do you want Americans to remember and think of this Memorial Day?
Well, I want them to think of everything that they get to do this weekend across the country, spending time with their families, spending time doing the events that they will have. But I also want them to remember that there's a reason that they're able to do that. And it's when they pass by one of our cemeteries, they pass by one of those areas that are remembrance or something that's going on. I want them to remember that it is those who gave their life, their sacrifice for our country. This is a time in which we remember them. This is something that is a very bedrock on the country in which we believe. And also remember, and I think this is something even though we think now we're past the Iraq and Afghanistan conflicts and the other things, we still lose our service members in conflict. And there are many members of families right now that are still sitting with, that are going to gather this weekend with a missing person at a chair or a table or on that boat ride that they used to take because their loved one did not come home. And I think that's something we need to remember.
Yeah, Mr. Secretary, I mean, I remember 4 years ago when former Vice President Kamala Harris tweeted out this being a long weekend. And we know it's obviously so much more than that. And now Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth is ordering a new review of the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. I mean, it was because of that botched plan that we have 13 more people to be honoring and remembering this Memorial Day weekend. The withdrawal is seen as one of the largest failures in military history. I mean, what do you think of the investigation, and what kind of answers do you want on behalf of those service members who were killed?
I think that is I think that was frankly, and Mark, you and I have talked about this a little bit before. I think that was the beginning of the end for the Biden administration in many ways, because it just showed a complete lack of understanding, a complete lack of respect, I think, for our military. I'm glad to see that the Secretary of Defense is doing that. But it's not just that happened there at the airport at Abbey Gate. It's also the whole lead up to it, in which there were people on both sides of the political spectrum saying, "Don't do this. Don't do this. This is not the right way to do this." And yet they continued on because they had set, unfortunately, what appears to be a political deadline of September the 11th to get people out and to do it early and to claim a political victory. Let me just remind everyone out there, I don't care what administration's in, our military service members are not political pawns. They are the ones who stand at the tip of the spear at the world, because the world looks to us because of the leadership we have, and our military is the best in the world, and we have given our sons and daughters around the globe, and that is what we remember this weekend. We're not anything else but the best fighting force in the world, and yes, this is a weekend in which we remember those who gave their life.
Yeah, great point. And I know that each year, Mr. Secretary, you're a veteran. What do you hear from other veterans, as well as how they want to be, they want this day to be observed and they want this day to be talked about? Because I have to think that every veteran like yourself has served with someone who didn't return home.
Yes, we do. And I think that's the biggest thing is also this, and this may seem simple, but I think I want to emphasize it again. There are two distinctions here. Memorial Day is about remembering those who died, those who lost their life in service to this country. And in November, we'll celebrate everybody who served, veterans in that. And I want to make that distinction because everybody in their kind-heartedness, many times they'll say, well, this is a great day for veterans this weekend. No. Let's make sure we're remembering the veterans who passed. And for those of us who are veterans and who have walked with those service members to the mortuary, to the graveside, this is a time in which, we just simply look back and say, these are friends and these are folks that we served with. We want them to be remembered for what they gave.
Absolutely.
And as we keep talking about, obviously, not only those who we've lost in service, but those who did serve, there are consequences to elections. Sometimes they're good ones. And just yesterday, your department reported that it brought the backlog down of veterans cases to under 200,000. It's the lowest number in 2 years. I mean, what is the key to this this is what our veterans need?
Yeah, it's leadership. I think I've got a great team that is committed to doing the things that we promise. It's about a veteran. It's about making sure they get timely health care and make sure they get their disability claims answered quickly. That's what we're doing.
All right, Mr. Secretary, thank you for taking the time this morning. Appreciate you.
It's all good to be with y'all. Take care.
Information. Truth is freedom. is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.